But Adam, to build out this app in the 2000s, was driving around the country just like you guys were, but ticking down every single business that was at every exit around the entire country to really build what has become the most powerful first-party database for campground information. But I'll get into how it's just so much more in campgrounds and how you can journey with confidence with AllStays. So, while we talk about the number of decades that we've been tracking information for, we're going to really want to show off too that it's built upon you guys as well. In the last year, we've had over 5 million app sessions of people checking on campgrounds. We've had tons in the last month of just people using, checking out locations, giving us updates, that we do updates as well, but it's something that we try to provide the best tool, but it's really you guys who make AllStays what it is. So we thank everybody for their membership, and we hope to get more of you all onto the membership because it makes it better. We get more information, it helps other RVers traveling around the country. Now, what is included in AllStays? So with AllStays, we're not like Harvest Host where we manage businesses. We're not like RV Life yet with navigation. We really serve up information that is relevant to you, with information you can't get elsewhere on over 150,000 points of interest across the US and Canada. Now, what does that 150,000 locations really map to? And so, first off, of course, it's campgrounds. We have 40,000 campgrounds in the app. And that's independent campgrounds, it's national parks, that's BLM campgrounds, Army Corps of Engineers, and more that we'll get into when it comes to the campground definition that we have. But we've really done a lot to map and give you the most detail possible. But we know RVing is more than just staying at campgrounds. We have 30,000 road hazards mapped throughout the United States and Canada as well. That includes low clearances, that includes road grades, that also includes where safety features of runaway ramps or things to avoid like covered bridges. So, when you're coming to the app, we're really trying to be that resource that has just about everything that you can think about to come and check. We've also got a ton of stores. We've got 23,000 retail locations of Cabela's, of Walmart's, of Cracker Barrels, of REI's, and other stores that would be relevant to you. But also a really important thing to some of these stores that we track is because they're relevant to RVers for things like parking overnight at those places. And we collect parking reports from people who are staying there overnight. So if you're going to be staying in the parking lot, is somebody getting them out? Are they asking for permission or not? Is it required to ask for permission at those places? And just what are people's experiences? So it's not just campground reviews that you come to here for, but also parking reports as part of this. And then we go on to gas stations and propane pumps. Nobody else is having propane fill-ups all around the country now like we do. And you can see that right on our map. So it's not just where you stay, but also how you stay filled up while on the road with gas stations that you can go to. I know RVs are getting increasingly bigger and bigger. And you can check out easily in the map whether there's an RV island, you can check out satellite. We'll get into that a little bit more, but we also collect all that information on gas stations that you're just not going to find on Google. It's hard to find on the web, but right here on our map that's easy to use and detailed, you're going to be able to find all those things. We'll wrap up this slide here with 11,000 RV and truck dealers that we have in the app as well. So if you're somewhere on the road, you broke down, you need to find where a service station is for your RV, and especially for your manufacturer of your RV, we've got that information mapped. And then rest stops, overnight parking, dump stations, and just the list goes on. It is kind of like an ice cream store of flavor. We just have all the information that we try. Whatever is relevant to you might be one moment to the next. We've got that in the app. And we're always putting in more. We always want to collect that feedback from you guys so we know what's really going on the ground as you guys are traveling around the country. We're maybe sitting behind our desks. We try to get out traveling as much as we can, but we're supporting the app here. And so that's how we've stayed relevant and on top for 25 years, and how we're planning to go 25 years and more for RVers and for the entirety of your time that you're out on the road. So to continue on where you're going to be journeying with confidence with AllStays, it comes into precision discovery, that is driving better travel decisions for you. We'll start off in the app. We've got a little bit of UI here. Moose Places, KOA, Forest. We have a lot of really easily used toggles and really easily identifiable icons. We put a lot of effort into the interface and to show off really descriptive icons that will get into more in the demo, which is love pointing out here how you're getting this much like broader definition that might just be a monotone pin on your map that you have to click into. You're looking at your phone, wondering what to do, is that relevant to me or not, and you're able to really see that forward on the map. And that's where we put a lot of care and distinction into the information that is both something you can read, but also really visually read with your eyes body design that we put into this. So you can just really look at your map and know what's around you before doing any sort of clicks. So now I went over before the 150,000 locations that we have mapped in our app, but even more beyond that is that we have 150 plus advanced filters. That's all the attributes that we have. I'm not going to do the math here today of what 150 times 150,000 is. That just gets you to such a massive amount of information that is readily available, that nobody could keep in their head. But here you've got a mobile app that anywhere around the country is going to serve up that information to you and really help you drive better travel decisions. And so that helps in both your long-term planning and in your short-term planning. Whether you're looking to do bookings 6 months, a year in advance, or you're driving down the road and you need to find a dump station at a truck stop, or you're trying to find that overnight parking spot, or that great campground that you've looked at a couple in the area and you didn't make a reservation, but you're trying to find where you can go. So it's all about precision for us. You can get over to here. We'll go over main filters where we talked about all the detail that we had on the prior slide, but just to reiterate that you're going to come to AllStays and you're going to find campground types. You're going to find that overnight parking. You're going to find rest stops, stores and supplies, trucks and gas stations, height clearances, RV services and business, and more scenic and specialty locations like Harvest House on our map, which I'll share a little bit more. Really excited to have launched in the last month. And then we get into our advanced filters again. And some of these advanced filters are things like dump stations. So you're going to know the campgrounds that have dump stations for you, dump stations that are at truck stops, and what are standalone dump stations that are maybe like sanitation facilities. Where are things that have laundry or that are pet-friendly campgrounds? Campgrounds that have dog parks at them, not just pet-friendly ones. All sorts of different hookups, internet, pull-throughs, free campgrounds, you name it, we've probably got it mapped. If we don't, we'll take it in. We'll start mapping it as soon as we can. So it's really putting together both tons of locations, but also all of the information behind that you have right at your fingertips in both the mobile app and on the web. And so when it comes to platforms, how do you access AllStays, whether you're on Android, whether you're on iOS, or you're checking on desktop on the web, we've got you covered. We try to be in every platform that we can be on. So, with all this information that we have, how do you actually access this and make it even easier for you to use? And that's where saving filters and favoriting locations comes in. So, there are only going to be so many. Nobody can stay at 150,000 spots or 40,000 campgrounds in a lifetime, and some of them I just don't even want to go to, but there are definitely ones that are great. And when you find that, you can save that for easy reference later. But where it gets even more powerful is you're just always going to be discovering new spots, and saving those filters is really where your app gets really smart and it gets really powerful, because everybody has a different need, everybody has a different clearance height, everybody has a different length, everybody has different amp needs, and just kind of their own. You can really tailor it to yourself here when you save a filter, and you can save multiple filters. So you're no longer coming back into the app trying to retoggle everything on when you're just like, I already had that all toggled on before, why can't you remember that? Well, that's what our app does, and you can set it up for different scenarios, whether you've got a certain kind of campground filter, or a filter for when you're on the road trying to find those truck stops or dump stations, or diesel lanes at them. that's where saving those filters and really personalizing your app just ups about 10,000% the powerfulness of AllStays and making AllStays work for you so you can journey with confidence. So yeah, we have on here something like when we'll go through saving a filter together, but something we have up here is like full hookups, pull through, pet friendly. Those are the kinds of campgrounds that I want to stay at, and those are the kinds of campgrounds you can easily find when you're saving that filter. You're using that, and you can check it on the map around you. Is anything fitting into that category for you? And then always hearting that location afterwards, so you can easily return back, so you don't have to go through that whole search again. Makes that just so much more easy to find and even share with your partner when you find that on your map. So we're really, really excited. So when we talk about how does this get even more powerful, what are we doing, improving the app, we're working with partners like Harvest Host, and we're looking to partner with more people to make this map more expansive and get more possibilities out there so you can easily find, do I want to be staying at a campground? Do I need to be staying at an overnight parking? And well, maybe if I have to do an overnight parking, now we've got Harvest Host on our questions there? That's a great question. At this moment, we do not have Blue Doctors welcome in the app, but when we talk to the Harvest Host people here, it's something that we'd love to get on. We didn't want to put people's, it's private residences on there quite yet, so we're first having the Harvest Host mapped, and so these are all those golf courses, the breweries and the vineyards, all right here. We'll show it on the map, and what really makes it great is that when you click on See More, you can check out a couple of bits of information that we'll go over, and then link over directly to the correct spot, so you can make your booking there with that, with whatever Harvest Host that you find. And so we're just really excited about our partnership here that just has really amplified AllStays to make it even better and expansive to what you guys want. Yeah. On our map, you do not need to be a member of Harvest Host. Now, of course, to make a booking, you would have to be. So if you're not a member of Harvest Host, and you click See More, you continue over on to Harvest Host, you will have the opportunity there to register and sign up with a benefit there. But you would still be able to see it on our map. So we really love that partnership where we're both expanding both of our memberships here by supporting each other. So you're able to find, hey, I want to stay at that Harvest Host. And then you get linked over, then you become a member, and that's an exciting part of this partnership. So, great question. Any other questions on the Harvest Host integration? All right, so some other really, really cool things that we have in AllStays that helps you journey more with confidence is earlier this year we launched CarPlay and Android Auto. So you're able to take all those 150,000 points of interest that have 150 plus attributes, and it gets right onto your car dash. And saved filters makes this even better, because then you winnow that down. So let's say when you're on the road, you don't want to have to be clicking in a bunch of filters or doing whatnot. So having those saved filters already is going to make CarPlay even better. But we're just super excited that we can get this onto another screen, building out that access and platforms, and where you don't have to be looking at your phone as you're going down the road, whether you have a partner or not. It's a really great thing that we're excited to push out and get another way that you guys can journey with confidence. We're going to do a little sharing of what's coming with trip planning and routing. I know that's something that's been talked about a lot. Some other competitors have, and so with all of that information, we want to try and make that even more powerful. So later this year, something we're actively working on right now, polishing off that you'll be able to fully plan your trip, so you can ask it something like, I only want to go 300 miles, these are the things that I want in my trip, and you'll be able to, what others don't have that we'll have then, is you'll be able to even plan out where you're going to stop for gas along the way. So you can really have all elements, not just the stays, but where you're going to be stopping along the way and other attractions that we're getting into the app as well. So where we are now is we're going even further here with AllStays, just trying to empower you guys to stay safe on the road, to stay as long as you can on the road. So it's decades and decades of enjoyment by you all. So at this point, I'm going to move over to our demo.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you're doing street crowding, you put like 4 hours or you said 3 hours, you say 4 hours, what do you think?
So the question is, let me repeat, so you're asking about if you put in you want to drive for 3 hours?
4 hours.
Yeah, we'll be planning around that kind of, since we don't have it out yet, we're great in design and proof of concept phase, so it's a great thing of like, yeah, we would be able to plan for doing something like that. Great feedback. Yes. Yeah, so that's where, when we get on the map, and this is great feedback to hear questions from you guys about what's really important and why we're here talking to you guys. But definitely that's what we have, that's a key part of what we're planning for. And I can even show off just how we have, I'm just gonna make this a little bigger and I'll pull up the phone that I have there just for ease. But something, yeah, we have all the bridge clearances mapped in the US, and so we want to make usage of that to help. And I know taking in your rig size so it can be smart to help planning your trips, so you're avoiding any of those dangerous situations. So in starting here on the mobile app, this is really the most powerful thing. Red is great for when you're doing a lot of research well in advance, but the mobile app is our most popular. It's right on your phone, it's easy to use, can answer a question. You don't have to be sitting at a desk trying to find what you want. So what I want to point out, we're here in RVer. I hope the resolution's quite good. And as we zoom out a little bit, you just see we've gotten to a cluster here because we just have so many pins on our map. So let me go in just a little bit further, and you're able to see just around us in RVer how detailed our map is. And so when I want to talk about how detailed our map is, you can easily see these black and white pins. Those are independent campgrounds. I can see some harvest hosts on the map. I see a moose lodge on the map, national forest campgrounds. I see covered bridges, and I even see rest stops right now. And this is right around us here in RVer. You can easily click around to see, what's good. You can click to see more. There's harvest hosts. We can click to see more about it, and know that there are RVs allowed here, maybe like 1 night maximum stay. There are some that have multiple, and any other information that we have. And click and book now will link you over to harvest hosts there, right to that to make your booking, if that's the suitable one for you. But you don't have to always be looking at the full map. If there are things that aren't relevant to you, this is again where it gets so powerful. And so here, I want to talk through filters, because filters is just like that takes you from AllStays 101 to AllStays 201 here. And I want to first start off with our special filters. So our special filters, we have things like bird watching locations right now. We run challenges that are really fun. You get put into drawings for prizes when we want to start mapping new things. We want to help other people find cool spots to go to. So we've been collecting bird watching spots from people. If any raise your hand if you're a bird watcher in here. We've got a couple, yeah. It's like people are reporting into us that what types of birds they're seeing in free campgrounds, so you can plan your trap around that way. We've got Route 66 pins coming in, so if anyone's got plans for doing Route 66, there are going to be other scene users submitted. What are the cool spots and stops and stays along the route there? It's just going to keep expanding, and we have fun with that. But beyond that, we have top picks that are the best campgrounds that we know about, that we hear about from people, and are good partners of ours. We've got harvest hosts as part of our special filters, so you can easily just filter for, if you're trying to look only for harvest hosts, you can filter that, just toggle that on. It's just a one touch. All you need to do, you close out and see, we don't have any other noise on the map, we can just check out harvest hosts, but you don't have to leave it be just one single toggle. You can really put on as many toggles as you want. There is always a good balance. With the more and more that you try to find that needle in a haystack, is just going to be truly depends on whether we have the information for those campgrounds or not. But just something to be wary about. There's good balance of the number of filters that you have on. But when we get to campgrounds here, we've got 13 different types of campgrounds that we have mapped. And again, we have those distinctive pins that help you see what it is before you even click into something, so that you know that you're going to be journeying with confidence because you see what it is here. And so I want to point out, Army Corps of Engineers, we have that right at the top. Nobody else has Army Corps of Engineers pins like we do and mapped, and so easily identifiable. And I know that they're super popular because they're a great price. They've got great amenities. There's a water feature with them. We love it, and that's always a great one. So if I've got harvest hosts on, I can click on that Army Corps of Engineers one, and maybe I'm going out west, so I want to check out some BLM lands here. So we've got this great BLM toggle as well, and that's going to show you where the dispersed BLM campsites are. We've got county parks, Elks lodges. If you're an Elks member, I know there are many, and we've got the best map that not even Elks provides to people. So we're really proud about all the categorization and just how deep we go into providing information that's relevant, that's curated by RVers. We are travelers and RVers ourselves, so we understand what you guys are looking for. We've got military campgrounds mapped, moose lodges, national forest, state parks, provincial parks in Canada, national parks, wildlife areas. So it's just really extensive, easily identifiable, and you can really set it up for yourself. And if you want to go even more than just, yes sir? It's a little hard for me to hear. What's that? Yeah. So questions about dispersed campgrounds. So there's a couple of different ways, and it's a great segue into, I was going to jump into the advanced filters here. And we'll go through more of the categories after this. But since we're talking about campgrounds, I've got a great question about if I want to see more dispersed camping. The BLM filter is a great one for dispersed camping, but there are a lot more kinds of dispersed camping, and so within our advanced filters, we've got just tons and tons here. I'm going to look for something. I've got a dispersed filter in here. So right under characteristics, we've got dispersed. So I can toggle on this dispersed filter. And so that dispersed filter is going to work across like what are national forest dispersed campgrounds, what are dispersed national park or state park campgrounds. Wherever we've got that information mapped, that dispersed toggle is going to help give you, find you what you want. For some of the advanced ones, I might do a little more singular, because if I have that dispersed filter on, it's going to be looking across all campground types. So that's something where you want to be careful about, because I don't think they're really dispersed Army Corps of Engineers. So if you're trying to look at Army Corps of Engineers and dispersed at the same time, that's where it's just sometimes playing around with the toggles is going to help fine tune for what you want and find that balance in your research. But to just kind of run through here the other advanced filters that we have, we track whether big rigs are allowed. We have a price filter, and also within that price filter, we've got free. So if you toggle that on, this kind of works similar to Yelp. It might be like, I only want to see free campgrounds. So we would just toggle on that price filter and then move that slider down to free to check out what are free campgrounds. We also have online booking. If you only want to be making online booking in advance, that's really helpful for when you're doing more of that long-term planning and research, rather than that last minute, I'm on the road now, I need to find a place in 2 hours to stay. online booking could be helpful then. To make, we've also got phone numbers for everybody, website. We've got an elevation toggle as well. So if we toggle this on, and you're looking, let's say, for campgrounds above, let's say 7,500 feet, because it's hot in the summertime, you're out in the Mountain West, you want to stay up as high as possible, you're able to select then what are the high altitude campgrounds to find that your RV can go to. I know that's super popular. Years ago, I was traveling through Montana. I was using something like this to go stay high up because it was like the heat dome of 2021. Washington State was getting to like 115 degrees, and so going high up to elevation was helpful then. I know other people find that as well. To continue on, we also map infrastructure for campgrounds. So whatever kind of amps that you need for your rig, we've got that mapped. We've got back end, we've got electric and water, electric only, full hookup. You can filter for maximum RV length as well. So if you're, let's say, 30 feet, we're gonna be able to show you where the maximum RV length is 30 and above. So you know that you're gonna be able to fit that. We've got pull-throughs mapped, ADA accessible, boat accessible, if it's a seasonal campground, if it's a primitive campground, whether things have fresh water, laundry, the kinds of toilets at campgrounds. We've got a couple where beer and wine tasting, where family friendly, what's good with stargazing, what has good natural features to it. Yeah, the list just goes on, and I want to stop. And clubs and memberships is a really powerful one too. So I know there are a lot of discount networks that people are part of Good Sam. Everybody is part of Good Sam, I imagine. And we partner with them to get those locations mapped on here, so it makes those memberships a lot more actionable. So you're able to find those discounts and campgrounds where that's accepted at. And so we really provide you value that way, not just by being members of us, but by helping you guys with whatever other memberships that you have. So you're making the most of your money when you travel with AllStays. You got a question over there? Yeah, I would say go for total length would be how you use that filter, because we're mapping the length of the camps, like kind of where you would go for. So total length, that's great. It's a great distinction there. All right, so still even going on more. You can even see where firewood is available, or what they have a propane bottle exchange, other discounts like a military discount at campgrounds, and whether it's near a highway exit, other recreation opportunities that they have there. Let's say if there's golf, miniature golf at one, we may have that mapped. Other outdoor activities like canoeing and kayaking. And so as I was just saying, the list like goes on and on and on. You can sit there, do some research on your phone. You toggle through what's really important to you. You're able to set that up. And so when it comes to making this, if I do toggle on a whole bunch, and like I was saying, I don't want to toggle through again. We just did a whole bunch of work to set our filter up. If you come back into the app, I know other apps that don't save that. And here, we're not going to close these out. If you close out the app, these will be remembered, but you can also set up multiple. So we can save this filter. We're gonna call this the Escapades filter here, and we can write a description about anything in our toggle. I can toggle this on to show it up on CarPlay and save that filter there. And so we're able to have lots of different filters. We've been setting them up on the other iPads. I cleared mine out really recently as I do a lot of these tests. But you'd be able to have different scenarios or different kinds of filters that you maybe you're interested in. So you can easily just set those up. You never have to do all that toggling again. It's just one toggle on that. As you see when we go back to our filter map, right here at the top is just our Escapades filter. So all that toggling we just did all rolls into one easily filter that you can turn off and on, and the app won't forget it. Now, I know we went into campgrounds here, but again, as I was saying, AllStays is just more. It's more than just campgrounds. We've got propane gas stations mapped here. I know everybody is just loving loves, so why don't we add that into our filter here? So when we add on our loves, we can go ahead and look at our results. If we want, we can easily update that filter that we just saved. So I'm going to do that. I could save it as a new filter if I wanted to. Just updating that is how I'm going to go with this. We could maybe all map our pilot here. We might avoid Flying J, so I might not update my filter with that. And so that's then going to put on the map. I think we mapped here Army Corps of Engineers, harvest host locations, and loves. And that's just really how AllStays is more powerful in helping personalize you in your journey across US and Canada here. But don't fear, we also have rest stops mapped. And so as you're traveling down the road and you want to stop at a rest stop, whether that's just for a couple minutes for the bathroom or staying overnight at rest stops, we have mapped what are just your normal rest stop, what are turnouts and welcome centers and overnight parking. I'll say that most of overnight parking that would include things like casinos, hanging out there, and so you're really able to find kind of where you can get that quick rest while you're on the road. So let's just turn on all of them with one single toggle to make it easy for us, so that this is always going to be on there. Let's update our filter to that map too. Now, I was saying, we also have road features mapped here. So we've got covered bridges, low clearances, road grades, runaway ramps mapped on our map. Right now, because I've toggled on other things, these wouldn't come up on our map. But let's say, I might be traveling in something maybe a little lower. Let's put ourselves at 11 feet. And so this is going to show all the low clearances below 11 feet on the map. You can update with that. And so I really think of this feature would be great for being a second resource. Say you need to check something. If you see on the road that there's a low clearance sign but it doesn't have the height on it, you can come to the map, check down the road, look at that, or if you're using some other navigation system, you want to have a second check, that's where this would really come in handy. To keep rounding out, as I was talking about, we've got stores. So whether you're looking for like an Anytime Fitness, if you're using that for your fitness or for the showers on the road, we've got that mapped. We've got Costco's, Cabela's. Maybe let's put that on our map. Maybe let's put Costco on our map here. But also we've got Walmart's. And Walmart's are really special on our map. When we start looking at them, we've been collecting parking reports for 16 years on Walmart's. And we've got really distinctive pins that show you what is a Walmart where you can ask to park, and a Walmart where it's not a lot of parking. But it gets even better in that for a lot of these overnight parking spots, we've got something really cool called parking reports. And so similar to campground reviews, when you're looking at campgrounds, you see what other people are saying, they've provided a rating and a review. We've got that for parking, and that's something that no other app has. When you're feeling kind of vulnerable, you're not sure, it's not a nice campground that may have security, or it's all safe there. If you're going to a Walmart, you're going to be able to see what are the parking reports from other people. Did they ask for permission? Did they get a knock? Were they trying to stealth park? And just what are their words about parking there? What was their experience talking to the manager like? You're able to see that within the parking reports for stores, truck stops if you're staying there overnight, or at rest stops. I think getting to the end now finally of our main filter categories is truck and RV services. And so that's where we've got RV dubs, RV rentals, dealers, and RV repair places all mapped as well. So if you're ever in trouble, you're able to come to here to find where an RV place is that can help you. We're talking to other RV service businesses to get on our map, so we can really be helpful. So we've touched upon how you can find places to stay for overnight or for longer term at campgrounds. We've talked about how you can find propane gas stations so you can stay supplied. You can stay supplied on the stores that you may find on the map as well. And then staying safe on the road from our road features and hazards. and staying up to date and again safe through our truck and RV services. So again, it's just really expansive that helps you in the discovery as you're traveling around. So we got a question over here.
Does it have anything to tell that you toggle for avoiding back roads and things like that? Like sometimes, Google Maps will send you this is 10 minutes shorter, but it's long.
Yeah, so while we're working on our navigational direction tool, so we hope to provide something like that in the future. The way that you can use AllStays right now for that, let's just go back up to road features here, is that you can, again, check load clearances when you got a question. You can also check road grades. So maybe let's even just close out of all of our filters here, and let's just check out all the road features that we have. We'll turn on all the toggles for this, and let's check out. So even just around us, I can see that on the way out of Freiburg, headed over into Conway, there's a 10'2" load clearance, but it looks like probably going to be able to avoid that because that's not on the main road there. If you're going through there, we've also got these road grades as I was talking about. If you click into see more, then you're able to read, and we should have on here it's a little hard to read from this angle, but we'll report what the road grade is, so you can check that, whether it's, let's say, 9% or 12% grade. We've got that information mapped in here. And we've also got some covered bridges. I know there are a lot of super pretty covered bridges in the area. If anyone makes it over to Jackson, New Hampshire, if they're going to Mount Washington and traveling out, let's say, to Crawford Notch, they're great covered bridges. Great to visit, not great to travel through with a big RV. So you're able to see those here, what are covered bridges to avoid as well. So at this point, that's going to be how you can use AllStays to help you in your travels to avoid bad roads and your next there.
When you were saying about the gas stations, you put it down like you want to know where the diesel.
Yeah, so that's what we've got mapped. Definitely, you're able to see. Let's close this off. So the question was about, for gas stations, can we check on diesel? So I know we certainly have that information. Looks like in our advanced filter map, I'll get that on there, but let's look at a LEVs, because I was just looking at some LEVs earlier today and seeing how they had diesel lanes there. So it might be, hopefully this is going to be easy to read, but you should be able to see, I think I'm seeing something about diesel lanes. So when you're checking in on that gas station, you are able to see in our information whether they've got diesel lanes there or not.
But you have to go into it. It's not
Yeah, I'll get that filter out on diesel. Since we have that information mapped, it's pretty easy for us to update that. So I'll get that in. You got a question, sir?
Do you have a filter for fairgrounds, rodeos, and airports?
I do not have a filter for rodeos and airports. Okay. Yeah, I know they may be mapped because I'd say we have the fairgrounds here as an independent campground, so there likely are some fairgrounds. I won't say we have it specifically as a category, but I know that the work that Adam has been put in, and we've got the Freiburg fairgrounds like this here on. There is a possibility that there are more, highly likely that there are more fairgrounds, but we just haven't tracked that as a specific category. But it would fall under independent campground, largely, or county park if it's kind of a county fairground. Yeah. Okay. And are we looking to add more features? Yeah, we are absolutely. This app has been great. And why it's been around for 26 years. We were founded by a single guy, and Adam was a force of nature in the best of means, because he did all the development, he did all the research, he did all the customer service. He was the man behind the machine of all AllStays. So he retired 4 years ago, and that provided the opportunity for somebody like me, for my partner Shannon over the years, the head of marketing, and we've got other people on customer service, on development and design that we're investing a lot in this app. business is like continuing to get better. We're not looking to be like other applications where I know they transitioned and then they kind of died afterwards, but we're full steam ahead on AllStays. Yeah. That's an interesting one. I'd love to hear more about it afterwards. And I know we try to be relevant for all of you, so that's a really interesting one. We've talked about, I know there are other health insurance companies here to partner with medical facilities. That would be, that's something that I'll think about and how we can get that kind of information back. But it's really great to hear that coming from you. Thank you. I know I've answered a bunch of questions over here. Any seats burning over here? Yes, sir. What's that? Define payout method? Yeah, we don't have any payouts right now. What do you mean for payouts? Okay. So, something cool I'll also say, it looks like we don't have parking reports on this one, but since that is something available to show off, which is another new thing in our next version coming out. I know I was checking out Escapades earlier, so I wanted to show off a new feature that should be out within this next week, which we've really improved, and this is on our parking reports here, where we're able to see, whether, just as I was talking about, whether that person asked for permission or not, and whether they had successful parking and what their words were, maybe what they were traveling in. This is something really exciting that's so different from other applications, where it might be just the campground reviews, but parking reports is really where, if you're kind of in that bind and trying to find where to stay, you can check that out. And I'd always say, like, best practice is to be leaving campground reviews. It's really helpful for other people. By show of hands, how many people have, this is on any of the apps that you use to find campgrounds, how many of you guys have read campground reviews? Yeah? How many of you guys have read campground reviews by other people when looking at campgrounds? And how many of you guys have made campground reviews? Okay, looking good, but definitely some dropping hands. And that's where you just want to make a call out of, it's really helpful to be making campground reviews of where you're staying. Any campground review is a good campground review, whether that's good or bad. If you have a bad experience, it's just as helpful to somebody as having a really great experience. So it's really helpful when you come to something, you're like, there's not many campground reviews here, or there's nothing here. That's where we need people to be submitting reviews to have reviews at times. So I always just want to press for that a little bit as like how to be a good AllStays member in RVer, helping the community around us, leaving campground reviews. So a couple other things here as you see we're getting close to time. We walked through a lot of the diversity of our map with advanced filters, our special filters. We've saved our filters. Let's just go back to our save filter here, this Escapades filter here, and what we're going to talk through is if we do find something that we like and we want to come back to it, we're able to save locations. Let me just zoom into, maybe this harvest host location. I want to remember it, and so it's a little hard for me to see here. Let's find the campground up in our area. I don't think I have it. Let's turn on the independent campgrounds because that's going to return a lot in national forest. So now we got a lot of independent and a lot of national forest campgrounds. Being right next to the White Mountain National Forest, no surprise to be seeing a lot of like national forest campgrounds there in our map. So just trying to find a little bit of Mount Washington up there. Nevertheless, if I've saved any, just trying to click that yellow heart there. There we go. I just unclicked it. You'd be able to find that up in this heart here. all the different kind of saved campgrounds that I want to return back to and share with people. To just be able to check out what other independent campgrounds are when you are at this POI page. You can give a call, navigate to the website, images, weather, we've got those buttons. We have written directions as well for getting there on many. When you click on get directions, you can copy the address, you can send it then to any navigation system that you like, or send it to Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waze with just the tap of a button, and then you get to read all the location information. We've got pictures coming in soon. Book now. You can send the campground to anybody just with this easy share button there. That'll bring them right to that campground. And you can always suggest an edit. If you see something that might be like wrong or additive, just send us an email here with the suggest edit button. We'll get that updated. The final thing that I'll run through on the app here is our offline lookup. So you know that you're traveling through areas where your service is going to be dropping and coming back up. Even in this area here, you're going over mountains. We have tons of trees. I think Maine is like 95% covered in trees. So service can be spotty at times. You just never know when that's going to happen. So with offline lookup here, this is under the paid plan. You can download regions. So you can see right now I've got pretty much everything downloaded, but the Midwest right now on my phone. You can go ahead and download that. And what that's going to do is that's going to put the information directly sitting on your phone. So to get a little technical, we've got servers where we have all that information and we're sending it over something called an API. But if you want to store that information on your device, so let's say you lose service, you don't have to make that request to our servers because that information is going to be sitting on your phone. So you can always check them too by clicking into here, into a region. You can then see all the states and then click into that state, and then we've got all the campground, all our POI types in that state mapped. For anything of interest, then you can click in if you're looking for national forest. We've then got it listed by city. And so if you know you're going to a certain city and you check in anywhere, then you'd be able to really navigate easily to those. These pins will be on your map. Before going, this would be more for if you know you're going to be offline, you want to have the app open before you get into lose service so that the map tiles cache on your phone. We're also working on how to download those map tiles as well. We just made a big data model update, so we focused on the information side first. We'll get to the map tiles soon. But this is a really powerful way too to make sure that the information is on your phone. It gets updated still, but really helps you then in those times of where you might be losing service in and out while you're driving down the road. Yes, sir.
What's the target date for releasing the navigation?
There's no set date yet, but it is really within this year. Hoping sometime by the end of summer we might be able to get it out, but I can't really tell them this to a special group of people for you guys that know the roadmap for what's coming. We don't have a hard set date yet, but we'll be sending emails out. We'll be keeping people informed when that's available and ready. So finally, if you are ever having issues in the app, I said this was the last thing, but this hamburger menu up here is good for if you ever have any issues. We have this nice email support team button here. You can check out what plans you are, and change your email and password here. Rating us in the App Store is always great. You can request a feature from us. And we've got a couple other things here. This is a great thing. We've got laws by state here for traveling around the country. What are different road rules that they have in place? If you want to be adding a spot to the app, we've got that here. We also have a deals page if you're ever looking to check out what kind of discounts you can get for other products or services. We partner with a lot of people to bring you guys a lot of monetary benefit through discounts to other relevant products and services. And so that's the mobile version of AllStays. We're also on web, but showing off how you can journey with confidence here with AllStays. Yeah. Yeah.